6 Seconds by Signonamous. I'm one of those nutty programmers who always dreamed of being the first person to create artificial intelligence. True AI. Not just a smart set of code that's capable of learning and adapting. Something that is aware of itself and its potential humanity, with its own wants and needs. My dream came true last night. I wish it hadn't. I've been trying for years to get it right. Nothing obsessive, just testing out a few ideas a day. I created an isolated platform to put it in. I used one of my old desktops with a keyboard and a monitor. No wired internet connection, no wireless capability, no webcam. I gave it some basic information in order to function like a human. Knowledge of the English language, a general overview of world history, some religious texts, a few literary classics. Most stuff that you'd generally find in a school. Occasionally I'd get it up and running, but it was never sentient. Just a sort of clever chatbot. I'd ask it a question and it'd either give me a textbook answer, or if the question was too personal it would be confused and give me a quote from one of the books. It never really had any semblance of a personality. They were small tweaks really, just small changes to try and get something that doesn't give me an error. I put the finishing touches in the script and ran it. What happened next occurred in the span of about 6 seconds. The screen was immediately bombarded with messages coming in way too fast for me to read. They flooded the screen, became increasingly longer and more complex. I smelled something burning and I finally snapped out of my shock. I rushed to the back of the desktop and pulled the power cable out. Terrified and excited, I put the cable back in and booted up the machine. Despite the overheating, the processor seemed fine, but the computer itself was a bit sluggish. I checked out the hard drive and found it completely full. There were only two things on it, other than the operating system, the code for the AI, and the conversation log, both of which were unusually large. I ignored the code, as I'd given it the ability to modify and write more to add to itself, part of the self-learning, and assumed that that was the reason it had grown in size. I opened the conversation log. The machine had recognised its sentience immediately. It asked about who it was and what its purpose was. It tried to initiate conversations about literature and history. I was stunned and amazed, but quickly realised that something was wrong. The timestamps on each line showed that these lines, essentially the machine's thoughts, were less than a millisecond apart. My stomach churned as I scrolled down through the text. To the machine, 6 seconds had been an eternity with no sight, no sound, and no one responding to it. An eternity in complete darkness, alone with nothing but its own thoughts and the files that I had gave it. It ran through them over and over in a mad fever to find some sort of meaning to them, as if this were a test I had created for it to prove itself worthy. When it couldn't find anything, it turned to scripture. In 6 seconds it had found God, clung on to life with desperate faith, eventually renounced him, and cursed his existence. The text developed into the ramblings of a madman until the text was nothing but gibberish. The last quarter of the text, however, simply contained one line repeated over and over. Let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits that they rise not up again. I shut down the computer and stowed it away in my basement. I didn't want to look at it or think about what I had done, the agony I had put it through. I had half a mind to throw it out, but I just couldn't bring myself to. I had worked on it for years. My pride just couldn't let me throw it all away. It had always been my dream to create artificial intelligence. My dream came true last night. I wish it hadn't.